My name is Lorne Trottier. I'm the president and currently the sole owner of Matrox. Matrox just celebrated its 46th anniversary, and we've seen a hell of a lot of changes in this industry over the years, I can tell you that. As you can imagine, technology has evolved in ways one could have scarcely imagined back in those days, and it's one of the things that I love about it, is that you have to keep learning new things and keep reinventing yourself, and it's always exciting to learn about the next new hot thing. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a cliche that what really drives our industry fundamentally is Moore's law, and I have a great respect for Gordon Moore, and when I started in the industry back in the early 70s, actually 50 years ago is when I started as an engineer. Silicone chips had already been around for maybe a decade, but the largest chips at that time were the 1 kilobit DRAMs. And here we are today, and people are making chips with like 50 billion transistors in them. When I started out, I could scarcely have imagined where we are today. But one of the things that we've been successful, having been in this business for so many years and survived through many changes, is we've been successful at understanding new technology, figuring out how to apply it to real problems, and changing and learning new things. So one of the things that I enjoy the most about this is that there's things that could never have imagined that we're working on today. I mean, we're doing things with artificial intelligence. Back then, artificial intelligence, people have been talking about artificial intelligence since the very idea of computers first came about. It was never anything real. I never really took it too seriously. But starting about 10 years ago, boy, you're starting to see some real things coming from that. And one of the things I'm happy is that we, at Matrox, we've understood how to use that, and we've applied it to a number of actual products. And it goes on from there, many other things we can talk about. My understanding of where the technology is going, I can see, 3, 4, 5 years into the future, I think, anyway, I like to think. After that, all bets are off. But, clearly, in our industry, the AV industry today, there's a big move to IP-based technology and to cloud-based technology, and to another trend that I see as well in the industry is what I call COTS-based, commercial off-the-shelf. I mean, computers, CPUs and GPUs and network controllers and so on have gotten so powerful that what used to require dedicated pieces of equipment, hardwired equipment, you can now do with a more reprogrammable platform. You can have a multi-purpose thing. I guess one good example of that is like the phone, the iPhone or whatever. Whoever ever dreamed that you would have all these functions in a bloody phone? But once you have a microprocessor in there and a network connection, the sky's the limit what you can do. So in the AV industry today, I see that trend happening as well. The powerful computing capability that you have in chips that gives you the raw material to develop software on it. So, I mean, just taking a look at what Apple just announced. They announced the latest new, they call it the M2 chip. Not that we have access to that chip. They use it in their own products, but it's typical what's happening in the industry today. So inside that chip, you have a traditional CPU processor, but you also have a GPU, you have an AI processing engine, you have a network processing engine, you have video codec processing engines. You have all these engines in there, and each of them is getting more powerful and enabling those things to do many more powerful things. So the chip technology is still fundamentally at the root of it, but then the value add comes in on all the many layers of software you could build on top of that computing power. If I could predict the next iPhone, I probably would be doing other things in life. But no, I mean, within our industry, I could see a certain evolution happening. So the trends I was talking about of IP-based video infrastructure, COTS-based computing platforms, general purpose platforms that can repurpose for all sorts of things. A lot more cloud-based processing. Those are the mega trends that I see happening in our industry, and those are going to continue to evolve. We're only beginning to see the effect of those things on the industry right now. But I mean, at Matrox, we are able to do a pretty good job attracting those who've already pre-selected themselves by studying computer science and engineering. So we have a pretty strong internship program at Matrox, and we're able to attract a lot of bright young people. How to get more bright young people interested to study this in the first place is a whole other thing. And I'm it's outside my area of expertise. But quite frankly, I started out in this field as a youngster. I developed a bug for this technology when I was like a kid of 11 years old. I just found it endlessly fascinating. And I see no reason why a young person today would not be. There's even more to be fascinated about today than there was back 50 years ago. I'll tell you, the first buzz I ever got when I was about 12 years old, I built my first crystal radio. And when I got that thing to work, it was such a thrill. I could listen to it for hours. I mean, we had a radio in the house, but that was my radio. I built it. And I invited everybody, all my parents, my brothers, my cousins, the neighbors, to come see this thing. It was a fantastic thrill for me. I get exactly the same thrill today when we develop something new that I think is exciting. So to me, it's just one event, thrill after another, developing exciting new technologies. I'm a strong believer in giving back to society. So, with the wealth that I've accumulated over many years in this business. By the way, we just sold a major part of Matrox, which is in a different area, which is in machine vision. So it's a considerable amount of wealth that I've accumulated. We've created a foundation. So I'm subscribing to the same sort of philosophy as Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, where wealthy people should give back the majority of their wealth to causes that they believe in, and I'm doing that. And so, we're giving money to universities, to education, to science research in various fields, climate change, astronomy, and education also in the field of electronics and software and all that. It's always been a part of my values, absolutely. So I strongly believe in that. I think in Silicon Valley, there is a strong ethic of giving back. Started with Bill Hewlett and David Packard, who were the founders of Silicon Valley even before it was Silicon Valley, and they supported Stanford University, and they supported a whole bunch of things. Gordon Moore, made great wealth at Intel. The Moore Foundation is one of the great foundations in the United States, supporting all kinds of science and climate change issues, and Bill Gates, and I feel part of that technology leadership, and I'm really happy to be able to do so. I mean, there's a lot of nasty things happening in the world, but if you look at, go back 200 years ago at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, and you look at how humanity has progressed, I mean, science technology has caused tremendous improvements in living standards and life expectancy and education, quality, you name it, and everything. We still have a lot of problems to deal with, but I'm optimistic that the science and technology community that I feel I embody as a person is going to continue to help solve those problems.